project in this stacking up them chips, and I'm a rap. I was raised in the projects. I was raised in the projects.
Today we're talking about an artist that never really made it big, but they have a sizable portfolio with a small and loyal fan base. Most well known as the younger brother of Juicy J. The man was under a spotlight for a while, but seemingly disappeared off the face of the planet. So the question is, what stopped him from making it big? Well, today we're gonna find out. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram and Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. The man was born around 1973 in North Memphis, Tennessee. He was raised in the projects of Cypress Gardens, a neighborhood filled with junkies, dependent on a lot of drugs. But despite the rough neighborhood, Pat was very optimistic and felt like he had an opportunity to get out if he worked hard. He claims that he was lucky because of his father, who was a minister, and also a positive role model who taught him how to be a man. It was the ghetto, so you know how that goes. Not to put the same old sob story out there because everybody always do. In the ghetto, you got schools, you got everything, you got all the opportunities to make it out. There's negativity too though, and when I say negativity, I mean there is so many people that you see that's older than you that didn't make it. And it's like, oh man, I'm going to end up being like that guy.
I mean, just like any other neighborhood, I guess, it just was, everybody was just poor, you know.
Yeah, right.
Everybody was just poor, you know what I'm saying? You know, people was just, you know, stealing, robbing. Then when the crack hit the scene, which crack pretty much hit the scene when I was like, first like, maybe like 13 years of my life. And then like, I guess after that following year, then crack hit the scene. It was, man, it was crazy. It was like Snowfall. Oh, wow. Yeah, y'all saw Snowfall.
Oh yeah. I know that show.
Yeah. You know how at the beginning when they ain't know what the crack was? Yeah. I seen that happen. Like my mom was kind of like that. Like she ain't know what was going on in the neighborhood. She was like, what's wrong with these people? Like why they, a lot of people were like that. They ain't know what was going on. And it was the crack. Like when people would see people that was like, he dusted one week, the next week he got a car, he got clean clothes,
turned up on
he got jewelry. Like how that happened, you know what I'm saying? Right. So that's how people was when they seen that crack. It was like, you know, I'm pretty sure it was like that everywhere though.
Despite claiming to have all the right tools to help him out of the ghetto, Pat's upbringing was by no means easy. He stayed with his maternal grandmother because their home was never secure, and sometimes they would have one, other times they would not. While there, he spent a lot of time with his older cousin, who also stayed with their grandmother and who loved listening to Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire. That was his first exposure to urban music, and that along with gospel music formed the soundtrack to his life in his early years. After a while, he started listening to artists like NWA, Scarface and Too Short, and slowly his taste in music began to change. Unusually, however, Pat never dreamed of being a rapper until he saw the financial possibilities in the industry, and that's when he considered it. What really made me start rapping was Jay used to be a DJ. He used to do mixtapes, and I used to drop them off on the south side of Memphis, which was so dangerous that I used to ride around with him with 2 guns. What made me want to do it was when we dropped those CDs in one day, and he made over $24,000. When I seen all that money, I said, wait a minute, there's some money in this. That's what got me into it. Before he really got into the music world, he operated on the streets, selling drugs and robbing houses and stores. The world he lived in was very dangerous, and at one point he recalled a junkie burning down his grandmother's house after she passed away, in a world full of illegal activity. If you didn't join them, you drowned. It was part of the reason why he didn't want to get involved in rap in the first place, because he felt like he would be incriminating himself. I used to steal so much it was unreal. Me and my partner lived off this store. We ain't have no money, so we used to steal to live. One day there was a girl in there. She looked like a junkie and she was the police. We couldn't believe it. She was undercover. She didn't arrest us though. She tried to tell us to stop stealing. We was like 15 and 16. We were gonna whoop her like, bitch, get out of our face, you junkie. And she pulled a badge out and we were like, damn, it messed us up. Memphis is just one of those cities. I guess it's like the blues. Of course, Pat eventually got into music and began his career in the early 90s with features on Juicy J and DJ Paul's early releases. This included the 1994 mixtape, Solo Tape, and appearances on the 3-6 Mafia's second and third albums around 1996 and 1997. In the mid-90s, Pat wound up being locked up on the 4th floor of Shelby County Jail. He served 4 years on 2 separate robbery charges and came out to find that his brother and the Mafia had signed a deal with Relativity Records. That's what actually made him quit stealing and selling drugs at the end of the day. When he was in jail, he found God, and when he got out, he tried to focus on being on the straight and narrow and focused on building a music career.
Got caught with 2 guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, man, it's really crazy because I know it wasn't nothing but God, man. It was just, you know, like, something told me. You know, everybody started say, man, something told me don't do this, something told me don't do that. If it's something bad, something wrong, that's your inner man. That's God talking to you. And I sat there and I ended up, you know, something said, you don't need to take them guns. You're just going over, I was just going over this girl house, you know, girl I was really messing with real heavy. So, you know, and I thought there's something, but then that other side of me, that street side of me said, man, is you crazy? It's dangerous as a fool out here. You need 2 pistols.
Pat was also involved in a rap group called The K's alongside Little Corb and Scanman, and appeared on the group's only album Kamikaze Time's Up, which came out around 1998 and sold 50,000 copies independently. Around 1999, Pat released his debut album Getty Green through Hypnotized Minds, which was his brother's label, and Loud Records. It wasn't exactly a bad debut, but it wasn't great either. The album peaked at number 52 on the Billboard 200, spawning the mildly successful Ballers with Gangsta Boo. R.I.P. to Gangsta Boo, you know? She was actually one of the very first few artists to give me feedback on her video, and I needed that at the time, so I appreciate it. Now, Project Pat got his first taste of success when he appeared on the Mafia's minor hit, Sippin' on Some Syrup.
Sippin' on some scissor. Sippin' on some scissor.
He then dropped an underground album around 2000 called Murderers and Robbers, and after that he dropped his sophomore offering called Mr. Don't Play, Everything's Working. This was the album that put Project Pat on the map, as it peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and eventually went gold. The album spawned 2 singles. The first one was Don't Save Her with Crunchy Black and 3-6 Mafia. And the second one was marginally more successful, titled Chicken Head, and featured La Chat and the Mafia. Unfortunately for Pat, this is where things started to go wrong for the rapper. See, while he spent his time on the right side of the law, Pat eventually gave meaning to the saying that old habits die hard. While he wasn't selling any drugs and was keeping his nose pretty clean, he violated his probation stemming from the mid-90s stint around 2001. Originally pulled over for speeding in Tennessee. When the police checked the vehicle, they found 2 non-registered guns under his seat. According to him, he needed the guns for protection. It was so dangerous, literally. One time the police pulled Juicy over. This was when he was not Juicy J, but just a local DJ, and they found a gun on him. They gave him the gun back and said, "We're not looking for you." They asked him why he had this gun. He said, "It's so dangerous." They gave him his gun back. No permit. It was a gun he bought on the street, and the police didn't even care. It was just that dangerous. In Memphis right now, the thing with young dudes now is that everybody is a shooter. You could be seeing a dude just walking down the street. He could pull up and be like, "Hey man, I need you to go shoot this house right quick." Okay, who in it? Don't worry about it. I'll give you $200. Give him a gun and he'll do it. It's just that crazy. It wasn't like that back in my day. Back in the days when I was growing up, you would have people kidnapping drug dealers, whole families, mamas, and everything. It was dangerous then. That's why I kept 2 guns. Now, after finding the guns, Pat was sentenced to 4 years in prison around 2002. Upon his eventual release, he was assigned 3 years of supervised probation, a fine of $75,000, and $200 in court fees. 3 months after his sentence had begun, Pat's third album, Laying the Smackdown, was released and was not as successful as its predecessor. The album peaked at number 12 on the Billboard 200, proving that his fan base was still loyal even though he was in prison.
Make that ass clap, make it snap, talk to me now. Make that ass snap when I slap, talk to me now.
Around 2003, the man released a mixtape called Mistape: The Appeal, Project Pat. However, the man was not around to promote it. Eventually, Pat's fan base began to decline. His career had already peaked, even though he had not been free enough to enjoy it, and he was released around 2005, serving just over 3 years of his sentence. But at this point, the damage to his career was done. In a strange turn of events, he came out of prison just in time to see Juicy J reach a higher level of success when he won an award for the song It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Several months later, he dropped a mixtape, and towards the end of 2006, he dropped his fourth album called Crook by the Book: The Fed Story. The album performed even lower than his debut and spawned his last charting single to date, a single called Good Googly Moogly.
That thing is juicy, good googly moogly. That thing is juicy.
He then appeared on a single with Bow Wow and 3 6 Mafia called Side to Side.
Twisting my body from side to side. Twisting my body from side to side.
He then dropped another mixtape, then dropped his fifth album called Walking Bankroll around 2007. But yeah, the album did not do very well. Its leading single, Don't Call Me No More, did not chart at all, and the album peaked at number 57 on the Billboard 200. Now, Pat's last really successful song was Lolly Lolly by 3 6 Mafia around 2008. However, after this, Pat's career seemingly faded away. He dropped another album in 2009 called Real Recognize Real, but it sold a measly 10,000 copies in its first week.
Pay attention, the new album, Real, Recognize Real.
And that was his last half-successful album. He dropped mixtapes over the next few years, too many to mention, but he never quite regained his spark. Around 2011, he dropped album number 7 called Loud Pack. It came out independently and was followed by a collab album with Nasty Mane called Belly on Full 2. After this, he dropped another album called Mr. Don't Play 2, Everything's Money, and the album spawned the single Twerk It with Wiz Khalifa and Ty Dolla $ign. However, despite the features, the album did not perform very well. In 2017, Pat dropped his last album. It was called M.O.B. and became his first and last album to completely miss the charts. Unfortunately, the reason why Pat did not make it big was because he got locked up when he had the most momentum. 3 years is a long time to be out of the rap game. When he got out of prison, he tried to recapture the magic from his fans. He tried to drop new music, mixtape and albums, but because he was away from the spotlight for so long, and because 3 6 Mafia was fading away, his career suffered a decline. Now around 2021, he made a random comeback out of nowhere. He appeared on a track with Drake called Knife Talk with 21 Savage, and because Drake was on the song, it naturally did well.
The bar, so much bread, I'm a gymnast. Made so much money off of dummies,
Today, Pat is still active in the music industry. He has over 1.4 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most listened to songs are Life We Live, Chicken Head, North Memphis, and Take the Charge. His most recent release is a song called Noise, which came out this year. So yeah, Project Pat is still making music to this day. Nowadays, he works extensively with a non-profit organization called Go Foundation, which aims to help inmates find God. He still lives in Memphis to be close to his family. I got sons here. I used to live in LA, but I was mainly out there for work. My family's out here. I really want to move to Florida, to be honest, but I'm good.
Well, I've just been mainly going into prisons and talking to the guys in prison. We got a foundation called Go Foundation, me and my partner Mike Brown, and he out of Memphis, South Memphis. And we just be going in there, you know, passing out books. And the book we pass out is called The Tongue of Creative Force by a minister by the name of Charles Capps out of England, Arkansas. And it just mainly just, you know, just telling brothers that, you know, God can change your situation. You know, you don't have to just give up. You don't have to just say it's all over. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, you know, people have a saying in jail and they have a saying in the streets. The saying in the streets is, when somebody die, you know, do 18 years old, 20, 30, God don't make no mistakes. And now God don't make mistakes, we make mistakes. And it's really sad that we just accept that evil like that and just be like, well, that's just the world, you know, and it's like, it's really messed up because it's like, that's not God's perfect will for nobody.
I'm good. That's it for me. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Project Pat in your opinion? Let me know down below. What Happened 2 video dropping soon. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.